everybody. So, it's something I want to talk about because I don't fully understand it, but I think I've looked into it enough now that I get a reasonable idea of what the deal is. Motorcycle safety rating systems. See, on my Facebook a little while back, someone posted a link to Lidl selling £20 discount helmets, open face. Now, you all know my opinion of an open face helmet. I've done a video on it. I call them jaw grinders for good reasons. But that's by the by. I'm talking about just the rating systems. And the reason this comes up is because someone said, well, you know, it passes the same tests as every other helmet. Why isn't it good? Because that's not true. You see, as I understand it, in the UK you have the ECE regulations. And that is the absolute bare minimum that a motorcycle helmet needs to reach to be able to classed as legal to use on the road. In America it's D.E.P, Australia have their own version, Japan have their own version, and there's also on top of that an independent body who independently test helmets to a much higher degree called Snell. So basically, if you want an ultra safe helmet, you get something that's Snell approved, because they don't just do the standard tests, they go way above and beyond. You say, oh, well, if it's ECE approved, that means it's as good as any other helmet, isn't it? No, it doesn't work out that way, because obviously it's the bare minimum. Now, the bare minimum probably isn't that great. And it also depends on who's been testing your helmet. You see, this helmet, which is an Icon variant, is ECE approved, it is also DOT approved, it is also the Japanese version and the Australian version. Each one of them is a different type of test. You know, these are different head shape form, they use different heights, different limits. Like the limits for the DOT one are actually a lot higher, the sort of tolerances that the helmet can take, than the ECE ones, but the DOT one drops the helmet from a much higher height. And the way they do these things is basically they have like a fake head with the weight of a human head, or heavier, I don't know exactly on that one, and it's then dropped on a rig, either free dropped or dropped on a rail into an iron ball basically, and also a flat surface, and they just basically see how many G's the helmet or the person who would be wearing the helmet would experience on their head. And as I say, different tests have different limits to what they allow the helmets to get up to. They have different ways of testing it, so you can't really compare the systems. What you can say is the Snell is above and beyond the best one. So to say that a £20 helmet from Lidl, which is ECE approved, is as good as any other helmet out there is just factually incorrect. Because obviously a lot of the helmets will far, far surpass what the ECE rating is. As I understand it, ECE is like the bottom of the rung. That's, as I say, that's European. If it can pass DOT, then that's going to be better than an ECE rated helmet, because they are more stringent and more strict with the rules, and they're more tough on the helmets, as I understand it. So I might be wrong on this, but it's very difficult to compare them when the values that they have to reach or not reach are different, because the way they test them is different. It's not very standardised at all. And also they use different head shapes and stuff. I think the DOT one's very sort of human, long-headed shaped one. The English one's more of a rounded shape, and the Australian one looks like a fucking mushroom. Jesus, Australian people, have you really got heads that shape? You have to question, how much do you value your life? Do you value your life at $19.99? Fuck, I don't. The helmets I've had in the past, and I'll go through them. My first ever helmet was a Apache. Now, it is a cheap helmet, it was about £50. I crashed into a fence. The chin guard didn't stop the impact, it just bent out the way sideways, and I got chinned by the fence and knocked out. Admittedly, I did come out of it okay, but as I say, it wasn't great. It bent a lot, and afterwards you could tell that the structural integrity of the helmet wasn't great. I realised my mistake at that point. I was a novice motorcyclist at that point, just thought, you know, oh, if it's a £60 helmet, that's okay. And you could get a £60 helmet, it'd be fine, I'm going to get onto that. It's not the price that determines how good things are necessarily. So the next helmet one I bought was a Nolan flip front. Now that's another thing I should mention. People seem to think, or I have had people say to me, like with flip fronts, oh, you know, it's really nice to ride with it up. You can only legally ride with a flip front helmet up if it is tested to do so. They're basically, all flip front helmets got a classification on them, which is P or NP. which means protected or non-protected. I can't actually remember which way round it goes as to which one you can ride with it up and which one you can't, but basically in some of the helmets the actual sort of the open face part of the helmet isn't structurally strong enough for you to crash with it with the flip up, because that flip is locking it all together and giving it its strength. Other helmets is more like an open faced helmet which would pass with a visor, like a flip shoved on the front. So just bear that in mind, because if you all seem to be riding with a helmet which is not supposed to be ridden with it up and you're riding with it up, technically, as I understand it, it would class as riding without a helmet, because you aren't wearing what is classified as a legally certified helmet. In the same way that if you ride without your chin strap done up, you are not legally classed as wearing a helmet. Even though you've got one on your head, no chin strap, no helmet. £1,000 fine or something stupid like that. Well, not stupid actually, it's a very good thing. I don't like the idea of people riding without helmets. I know in America you're allowed to, and people use like excuse helmets which are like really skinny and flat to their head, like skull cap type things, and Jesus Christ, I don't understand it. You obviously hold very little value over your life, because yeah, you could be the best rider in the world, but that's not going to change the fact that right now when I go across this junction, a car could come across at 30 miles an hour, BAM! After the Nolan flip front, I went for an AGV, or was it AVG? I always get those two mixed up. It really fucks me off because of that bloody antivirus software. Stealth from about 2006, 2007, 2008, I can't remember exactly the year, but basically, yeah, I got that helmet on sale for $99.99, and that helmet was fucking good. It was strong, and I know it was strong because I crashed in it, and the chin bar took a massive smash, and it protected my face, should I say. Admittedly, that helmet normally is about £170, but if you look in the sales, you can find some decent deals. So then I moved on to the Icon variant, which, as I say, has got all the approvings on it, bar Snell. But some Icon helmets have passed the Snell ratings, so I trust that Icon have made a good, strong helmet. And I don't know if it's been tested or not, because it would seem that the Snell website only gives passes, not failures. So I don't know if it's not been tested or whether it failed. But I feel confident with this helmet that it will do its job. If you've got any more information to add to this that you know to be factual, to do with the testing systems or anything like that, feel free to put it in the comments. It's always very interesting to learn more about these things, because it is such a complicated sort of system and the way everything works, and I really do think that it would be better if they could simplify it for people to understand what they're really getting, rather than just saying, yes, it's okay. Maybe a 5-star system would be good, like like the NCAP system for helmets. There probably are versions out there, but it's not on everything. You don't just get it on everything naturally. So there you go. It's all very interesting. So ride safe, and I'll catch you next time. The address is spicyimages at yahoo.co.uk. The link is in the description, and yeah, obviously any of the stickers, it doesn't matter which one it is, whether it's the spicy one or the Fuckle Pro one, wherever you've stuck it, I'd love to see.